Welcome back to Relationship Psychology. Today, we're breaking down one of the most misunderstood parts of attraction, recognizing when a woman is genuinely interested, and more importantly, when she's giving you the green light to take action. Let me be straight from the start. Most men completely miss these signals, not because women don't give them, but because we've been conditioned to overthink, misinterpret, or worse, ignore them entirely. I've spent years as a therapist sitting across from men who replayed missed opportunities years later, realizing the signs were there the whole time. They just didn't see them. And it's not their fault. Society teaches men caution, to wait for crystal clear verbal consent that's often buried under layers of nuance. So today, I'm going to unpack this clearly, practically, and grounded in real-life experience, not abstract theory or cheesy pickup lines. These are observations I've seen play out countless times with people navigating attraction, intimacy, and connection. We're talking body language, verbal cues, those tiny hints that can feel almost invisible at first. But here's the crucial point. Understanding these signals isn't about manipulation or mind games. It's about reading social and emotional cues accurately so you can respond with confidence, respect, and authenticity. By the end of this video, you'll know the subtle ways a woman communicates interest and how to move forward without second-guessing, hesitation, or awkwardness. Some of what I'm about to say might challenge everything you thought you knew about flirting and attraction, and that's exactly why you need to hear it. Let's dive in. Sign 1. Her eyes speak volumes. When it comes to attraction, one of the most overlooked yet powerful signals a woman gives is through her eyes. I can't tell you how many clients sat across from me describing dates or encounters where they were completely blind to the subtle way a woman was communicating interest. Eyes aren't just windows to the soul. They're a direct line to emotional intention, and women often communicate far more through their gaze than through words. Over years of practice, I've observed that when a woman is truly attracted to someone, her eyes linger a little longer than normal. It's not staring aggressively or making anyone uncomfortable. It's that moment of connection where her gaze holds warmth or curiosity that feels magnetic. She's not just looking at you, she's noticing details. The way you move, the way you smile, even the way your voice shifts when you speak. That attention is deliberate even when it's subtle. Another layer is the spark or pupil dilation. In therapy sessions, I've helped men realize that the tiny, almost unconscious widening of a woman's pupils is a strong physiological response to attraction. It happens naturally when someone is interested in you, and even if you don't register it consciously, your subconscious picks it up immediately. There's a reason people say someone's eyes light up around the person they like. It's real, and it's biologically wired. But it's not just direct eye contact. Sometimes the signals are more discreet, quick glances that scan the room then return to you, repeated looks when she thinks you're not noticing, or subtle shifts in how she positions herself to face you more fully. These are the moments most men overlook because we're conditioned to wait for words instead of noticing behavior. And that's where so many opportunities get lost. What I always stress to men is this: decoding eye signals requires presence. You have to slow down, observe, and truly see her, not just look at her. It's about catching the rhythm of her attention, the way her eyes soften when you speak, or the little sparks of amusement and intrigue that flash across her face. These cues are almost impossible to fake consistently, which makes them incredibly reliable. Understanding this one element, the way a woman uses her eyes to communicate, can completely change how you approach her. It builds a bridge of connection long before words even enter the conversation. Learning to notice and interpret these signals isn't manipulation, it's awareness. When you see her eyes light up or linger on you with interest, that's your invitation to move forward with confidence, knowing the signals are real. Sign 2. Subtle touches that signal interest. One of the most revealing signs of a woman's interest in you is the way she uses touch. Let me be very clear. I'm not talking about anything explicit or inappropriate. I'm talking about those small, almost unconscious gestures that communicate interest and curiosity. Over the years, I've worked with countless men who completely misinterpreted or entirely missed these signals, often because they were waiting for words instead of paying attention to behavior. And that's exactly where so many men go wrong. From my experience, a woman who's interested in you will find subtle ways to create physical connection, even in casual situations. It might be a light brush of her hand against yours when passing something, a touch on your shoulder when she laughs, or playfully adjusting your jacket or hair. These moments aren't random. It's her way of testing comfort and signaling connection. I've observed that when a woman does this, she's often looking for a response, consciously or subconsciously, trying to see if you notice, if you reciprocate, and if you're comfortable with her presence. Another dimension of touch involves proximity. Women who are interested naturally reduce physical distance when interacting with you. Think of a conversation where she leans in slightly, positions herself to fully face you, or subtly turns her body toward yours. These adjustments are rarely planned like we consciously plan gestures. They happen almost instinctively because she feels drawn to you. Over time, these physical signals build up and create a rhythm of interaction that communicates far more than words ever could. But here's a crucial point. Understanding touch is also about context and consent. A friendly pat on the back or playful nudge can mean different things depending on her energy, the moment, and the situation. What makes touch meaningful is consistency and combination with other signals. When it's repeated, deliberate, and paired with smiles, laughter, and attentive body language, touch becomes a reliable indicator she wants deeper connection. In therapy, I always tell men that the key to interpreting these cues is awareness. Notice how she interacts with you compared to others. Does she find ways to create moments of contact only with you? Does she seem playful, curious, or even slightly nervous around you? These small, intimate gestures are her way of opening a door, but it's up to you to recognize it and step through with confidence. Physical signals, like touch, are often a woman's way of saying without words that she feels safe, curious, and interested. When you learn to notice, interpret, and respond appropriately, you build a subtle but powerful connection. It's not manipulation, it's awareness, sensitivity, and confidence in navigating attraction. The woman who uses touch thoughtfully is handing you a map. Follow it carefully, and you'll know when the moment is right to take action. Sign 3. Laughing at your jokes, even when they're not funny. Laughter is one of the most underrated signals a woman gives when she's interested in you. I've seen it play out time and time again in my work. Men sit across from someone they like, and every joke, every comment, even the ones that aren't remotely funny, gets a laugh or a smile. At first, they think she's just being polite, but in reality, it's a subtle and powerful way of showing connection. In therapy sessions, I often ask men to reflect on these moments, and it's almost always a turning point in helping them recognize signals they missed. Here's the thing. When a woman laughs at your words, even the ones that aren't clever or particularly entertaining, it's her way of saying she enjoys your presence. It's not about humor. It's about engagement, comfort, and emotional connection. I've observed countless cases where men assumed she was just friendly or polite, only to realize later that her laughter was consistently paired with attentive eye contact, leaning in, or playful teasing. Those little behaviors work together to create a very clear signal. She's interested, she feels safe with you, and she wants you to notice her interest. Another important detail is timing. When a woman is truly interested, her laughter often comes at unexpected moments, not just in response to jokes. She might laugh at something you say casually, at a shared look, or at a subtle observation. That spontaneous, almost instinctive response is an unconscious way of reinforcing connection. From my experience, these are the moments men tend to overlook, dismissing them as mere coincidence, when in fact they're consistent indicators of attraction. Laughter also creates a feedback loop. The more she laughs and shows genuine joy, the more confident you feel, and that confidence naturally draws her in further. In therapy, I encourage men to reflect on this dynamic. Attraction isn't just one-sided observation, it's an exchange. When a woman consistently responds with warmth, humor, and shared enjoyment, she's signaling she wants more than casual interaction. She's inviting you to step up and match her energy. Finally, it's not just about hearing the laugh, it's about noticing how it's delivered. A soft giggle when your eyes meet, a playful laugh that draws attention to her smile, or genuine bursts of amusement at something mundane. These are emotional markers. They tell you she's invested in the moment with you. Interpreted correctly, laughter becomes an interest map, guiding you toward understanding her intentions without any awkwardness or uncertainty. Understanding the power of laughter isn't about overinterpreting casual politeness. It's about noticing patterns, emotional consistency, and context of her engagement. When a woman laughs with you, really laughs, it's her way of saying she's open, curious, and subtly challenging you to take action. Miss it, and you miss the opportunity. Notice it, and you step into connection with confidence. Sign 4. Finding excuses to be near you. One of the most subtle but revealing signs a woman is interested in you is when she finds excuses to be near you. It's not always dramatic or obvious. It often shows up in small, seemingly casual ways. I've had clients share stories that illustrate this perfectly. One client, for example, was in the early stages of dating someone he genuinely liked. He noticed she accidentally showed up where he was, in a cafe, at group outings, even in classes they both attended. At first, he chalked it up to coincidence, but as a therapist, I often help men recognize these patterns because repeated, consistent efforts to be near someone are rarely accidental. In relationships, proximity is a powerful tool. My client eventually realized these subtle appearances weren't random. She was creating opportunities to engage, interact, and deepen connection. It wasn't overt declarations or grand gestures. She wasn't saying, "I like you" directly, but every small step she took to be near him was an invitation. In therapy, I stress that these moments are signs of curiosity and interest. Women who are attracted tend to create scenarios where closeness can happen naturally, without forcing the situation. Another important aspect is her energy when she's near you. My client noticed that when she was in the same space, she seemed more alive, more engaged, and even more playful than when she interacted with others. That's crucial. It's not just about being physically present, it's about her behavior in your presence. Attraction often shows up as a combination of presence and energy. She's giving you signals that she wants your attention, wants to be noticed, and is subtly encouraging interaction. This behavior is also a test of your responsiveness. She's watching to see how you react to her presence, how you respond when she creates those moments. My client initially hesitated, unsure whether to act or let things unfold naturally. But over time, he realized these consistent signs weren't coincidences, they were invitations. Recognizing them allowed him to approach this situation with confidence instead of hesitation, creating a stronger emotional connection. In short, finding excuses to be near you is a silent but powerful form of communication. It's a woman's way of showing interest while maintaining a level of subtlety, protecting herself emotionally until she feels safe to express more directly. When you notice these patterns, it's your responsibility to observe, interpret, and respond appropriately. Awareness of this behavior can turn uncertainty into clarity, hesitation into confident action, and curiosity into meaningful connection. The experience of my client shows that when you pay attention to these small, intentional moments of presence, the path to connection becomes much clearer. Sign 5. Mirroring your movements and energy. Another sign a woman is interested in you is something I've seen repeatedly in relationships: mirroring your movements and energy. It can seem subtle, almost too small to notice, but it's a powerful indicator of attraction and comfort. One of my clients in the early stages of a relationship shared an experience that illustrates this perfectly. He noticed that when he crossed his arms, she unconsciously did the same. When he leaned forward to speak, she leaned forward too. At first, he thought he was imagining it, but over time he realized it happened consistently. This mirroring wasn't forced, it was natural, almost instinctive, and it signaled her genuine interest. Mirroring is a form of nonverbal communication that builds rapport and connection. In therapy sessions, I explain to men that this behavior is rooted in empathy and subconscious attraction. When someone mirrors your actions, it's their way of signaling without words, "I'm in sync with you. I enjoy your presence. I feel connected." My client's experience showed him these small repeated gestures weren't coincidences. They were part of how she communicated her interest and emotional engagement. It's also fascinating to see how mirroring extends beyond body language. I've seen women subtly adopt speech patterns, tones of voice, or even laughter rhythms that match those of the men they're interested in. In my client's case, he noticed she picked up some of his expressions or responded with similar humor. These patterns aren't deliberate, they're reflections of a subconscious desire to create closeness and harmony. Recognizing this allows men to understand when their presence is genuinely appreciated and when emotional connection is growing. Another critical point I emphasize in therapy is that mirroring is often combined with other signals, creating a web of cues. In my client's situation, mirroring was paired with playful touches, frequent eye contact, and laughter, even at mundane comments. Together, these signals painted a clear picture. She felt comfortable, safe, and attracted to him. It's easy to dismiss behavior as coincidence, but when multiple signals cluster together, it's a strong indicator of interest. Understanding mirroring also helps men respond appropriately. When you notice she's subtly matching your movements or energy, It's a green light to engage more deeply without overthinking or forcing interaction. It's a nonverbal conversation happening beneath the surface, and recognizing it lets you act with confidence instead of hesitation. My client's story shows that when you pay attention to these cues, attraction becomes less mysterious and interactions become more fluid, natural, and meaningful. In short, mirroring is more than simple imitation. It's an emotional signal. A woman who mirrors you shows she feels connection, is comfortable around you, and is signaling interest. Recognizing this can be the turning point from curiosity to deeper connection in a relationship. Sign 6. Playing with her appearance when you're near. One of the most subtle but powerful ways a woman shows interest is by playing with her appearance when she's around you. I've seen this countless times in my work, and it's fascinating how completely men overlook it. It's not vanity or superficiality. It's a deeply human way of signaling attraction, comfort, and curiosity. Women often adopt small, almost unconscious behaviors to present themselves attractively to someone they like. And when you know what to look for, it becomes a clear signal. I remember one client who was getting to know someone new. He noticed little things. She smoothed her hair repeatedly while talking to him, adjusted her necklace, or subtly touched her face. At first, he thought he was overanalyzing, but the pattern was consistent. Her actions weren't random. They were her way of drawing attention, creating connection, and feeling confident in his presence. In therapy, I often explain that these behaviors are rooted in the human desire to be noticed and appreciated by someone we're attracted to. It's a form of nonverbal communication that says a lot without a single word. Another common example is adjusting clothing or posture. Women often unconsciously shift to present themselves in their best light when someone they like is nearby. Maybe she straightens her jacket, crosses her legs a certain way, or adjusts her posture to appear more open and approachable. Over time, I've seen men realize these consistent small gestures are reliable indicators of attraction. My client shared how noticing these details gave him the confidence to engage more directly. Understanding her behavior was intentional, even if she wasn't consciously aware of it. It's also important to consider context. These behaviors are even more significant when they happen repeatedly around you and are paired with other signals, like eye contact, laughter, or playful touches. A single gesture could easily be coincidence, but a pattern indicates interest. In therapy, I stress to men that attention to detail is essential. Noticing how she interacts with her own appearance in your presence gives insight into her emotional state and level of attraction. Finally, understanding this behavior helps men respond naturally rather than overthink. When a woman subtly plays with her hair, jewelry, or posture around you, it's an invitation. It's a sign she's comfortable, curious, and wants you to notice her in an intimate but effortless way. My client's experience shows that recognizing these cues allows men to approach interactions with confidence, responding with attention, warmth, and engagement. In short, playing with her appearance is a silent, nonverbal way for a woman to communicate interest. It's subtle, consistent, and deeply human. When you recognize and respond to these signals thoughtfully, it strengthens connection and makes advancing the relationship far more natural and intuitive. Conclusion: decoding these signals, recognizing when a woman is interested in you, isn't about guessing or overthinking. It's about noticing the subtle, consistent signals she gives, from the way her eyes linger to playful touches, shared laughter, mirroring your energy, or small ways she adjusts her appearance. Each sign tells a story. When she shares personal stories and emotional cues, she's inviting connection and trust. Paying attention to these signals lets you approach her with confidence, authenticity, and respect. Understanding and responding to these cues turns uncertainty into clarity, giving you the opportunity to take action naturally and meaningfully.